Hi. It's been a long time. This is not my YouTube comeback. Who knows, maybe it is, but I have been having a conversation with my best friend all morning, and I realized that I don't know, I feel very fired up about it, and I feel the need to just share these words with YouTube, with the little platform I have on here. Because this is something that I can imagine would really this is something that I myself would want to hear. So yeah, just popping in here. Hope you're all doing well. But I have been thinking a lot about self-love and how self-love is preached to us online these days, and I've definitely been part of that in the past, back when I was making consistent YouTube videos. I don't remember exactly what I've said about it, but I have definitely preached this concept, this idea that you have to love yourself before you can be in a healthy relationship with someone else. And I believe that that is fucking bullshit at this point in my life. And I think I'm gonna title this something like, I don't love myself and that's okay. Which is the truth. I've always really struggled with self-hatred, even in the times when I came on here to say and preach that I loved myself, and I'm really working on self-love, which is true. And I guess, so, first of all, a disclaimer that this video will be all over the place, but if you're used to my videos, you're probably used to that. And second of all, disclaimer, I'm not trying to say that self-love is not something that you should aspire to have. I think we should all aspire to have self-love. Sorry about the crying children outside. I think we should all aspire to have self-love, and that really should be the thing that drives us and motivates us in life, but I don't think you really get there. It just takes a lot of work, for lack of a better word, to really feel that self-love and to really have it. And I think for a lot of people that doesn't come until a lot of experience with self-hatred, and doesn't come until much later in life. Anyways, yes, I'm not trying to say self-love is not something you should aspire to have. I think it's a beautiful thing, but I think it's very unrealistic the way it's spoken about on particularly social media these days. Where was I going with all of that? I'm sorry. I'm probably not going to edit this. I've always really struggled with self-hatred, as I was saying. And it's specifically been pretty bad in the past year and a half. Especially over the past few months, it's been all I feel. I just feel I'm sitting in it. I'm marinating in my self-hatred. And it makes me feel even shittier when I see all of these posts and people online preaching about how you have to have self-love before you can ever be in a loving, fulfilling, real relationship. And to me, I don't know if, this is where my mind goes. I don't know if this is what people are trying to say when they speak on this, or if this is where your mind goes too, but I have always seen it as, and taken it as, self-love. In order to have self-love, I need to be happy independently. My happiness cannot depend on someone else. I need to fully enjoy my alone time and not feel lonely, not crave the company of someone else. Any sort of validation or support or soothing or coping or whatever it may be has to come from within. And as a person who is already very introverted and has already spent a lot of her life, my life, isolated, and I tend to lock myself away as a coping mechanism, so I kind of took all of this new information that I was seeing online about self-love as like an excuse to further lock myself away. And I felt like, okay, well, I don't love myself yet. Like, I need to work on myself. I really need to take some time away from everything else and isolate a little bit more so I can really learn to enjoy my alone time, and I can develop a sense of like purpose and I don't know, just like a lack of loneliness when I'm alone, which again, I think that is something we should all aspire to have, but keyword aspire. Like, there are always going to be phases in your life where loneliness is fucking depressing. Like, depressing and dark and heavy and embarrassing. Aloneness doesn't always have to be this like bright, I love myself, what are we going to explore today? It can be the most adventurous. I love being alone. I love my alone time, and I'm not trying to say that alone time isn't something you should enjoy, but as someone who already takes a lot of alone time and does know how to find freedom and light in my alone time, all of this talk about self-love started to become like kind of problematic for me and kind of dangerous, because like I said, it was causing me to isolate more than I already was, because I thought that since I didn't yet love myself, there must be something wrong with me and I need to take more time for myself to kind of force myself into this like self-love place, I suppose. And it's frustrating to me because I think that as humans, like, this sounds maybe annoying, but like, we are social creatures. Like, we literally are made for relationships. And so much of the self-love that I do have for myself now, because, you know, there is some love. It's hard to access it a lot of the time, but I do have some love for myself. And that has all been built upon like other people's mirroring and feedback. And this friend that I've been speaking to about this topic this morning, like, she is just my best friend in the world, and if I never met her, I would hate myself a lot more than I hate myself right now. Like, she is a big reason why I am able to like get out of bed in the morning, because I know that like there is someone who really cares about me and that I feel close to and that like will always be there for me. That mirroring is so important, and I just wish that there was more buzz online about the fact that it's okay to depend on people, and we need to depend on people. And depending on people can help you grow a sense of self-love and can help you respect yourself more. With all that being said, there is also the conversation of you can only accept the love you think you deserve, which I think that's an important conversation to have and a very real thing when it comes to like abusive relationship, toxic relationships, any sort of relationships that don't feel fulfilling. But I think that comes more down to like self-respect and self-esteem, which are kind of like lower in the like gradual process to the aspirational self-love, I guess. I don't know if I'm making sense. I'm really rambling, but I just think it's important to have conversations like these or like this about self-hatred, because self-hatred is always going to be a part of the human experience, and you wouldn't be able to ever experience feelings of self-love unless you knew what self-hatred felt like. As kind of cliche as that sounds, like there is always going to be a dark and a light to everything, and just like you wouldn't know happiness without sadness. Self-hatred is a real fucking thing, and if you hate yourself, that doesn't mean you aren't worthy of love. You, no matter what, you are worthy of fucking love, and it just scares me to think back how I used to think a few years ago that, like, I had to achieve this mystical thing. Like, what even is self-love? I don't know. The way that people talk about how to get there, myself included back in the day, like, it just is so fucking vague. But yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to think if there's any other points I want to make. I think that that's really it, but just like, I want people to remember that it's okay if you're struggling with being alone. It's okay if you're lonely. I'm right there with you, especially during this time. There's a pandemic going on. We are encouraged to isolate and to step away from society. So if you're having a really hard time with loneliness and isolation, and you're not just like happy to be alone when you wake up every morning, that's normal. That's totally normal. Yeah. So thanks for listening to my little rant tangent, and please leave a comment if you got something out of this, or if you have any further thoughts to explore. And like I said, I'm not trying to say self-love is not something we should all aspire to have. I think it is a beautiful thing, a beautiful concept, and it is possible to love yourself, but it's not that easy. It's not that easy, and I think a lot of people that say they love themselves are sweeping a lot under the rug, because it's also just normal to have insecurities and to have patterns that have existed since, like patterns of thinking and self-deprecation that have existed since your childhood. So it's not that easy. Anyways, bye. Thanks for watching.